Hello everyone. Today, while talking to my parents, I asked their opinion about the current mood in Russia, and my dad described it to me with one word: panic, and with good reason. First of all, there's been more information about the derailment of a cargo train in the Ryazan region. So, first of all, where did it happen? The railroad line that was affected by this is one of the lines that leads to the west. So it was used to carry troops, equipment, supplies, and weapons to Ukraine. Second, the what? 19 cars, full cargo cars, were derailed, and at first glance, what the train was carrying is quite harmless: fertilizer. Until you remember that a lot of the fertilizers contain some explosive elements such as nitroglycerin. So, imagine 19 full train cars of that stuff blown up and derailed. Basically, as of right now, about a kilometer of that particular railroad track is inoperable, and that's going to take a very long time to fix. Next, there's been a massive fire at Katovsk powder plant in Tambov, Russia. As of today, Ukrainian intelligence actually have already taken responsibility for this, but yeah, a big fire broke out. They're saying they were able to put it out in about an hour and a half, and there were no significant damages. But again, that's Russian media, so there is no telling. Something tells me that maybe they're not telling the truth. Another incident mentioned in the same article from RBC Ukraine is an explosion at the Mechanical Engineering Design Bureau in Kolomna, which is very close to Moscow. This is Moscow region. And so, considering the size of the explosion, it is possible that it may have been heard in the outskirts of Moscow. We'll see. So both are being investigated. Why Mechanical Engineering Design Bureau? Because that is one of the military facilities where certain weapons and military technologies are being designed. And that is where recommendations for construction and testing are being made. So two very important military targets in one day. This, of course, comes on the heels of the assassination of a police chief in the city of Luhansk, the pro-Russian police chief. And there's been two Russian landing craft that were hit with sea drones near Chernomorsky in Crimea. So, remember I mentioned that Ukrainian military has been very active in Crimea, doing everything they can to sabotage Russian operations there, and that hasn't gone anywhere. That is still happening. And so all of these incidents taken together make a very good case for people who are saying, well, Ukrainian counteroffensive is dead, it is stalled, nothing is happening. Look at all of these things happening. And look at the various locations where they're happening. All of that required a lot of orchestration, a lot of logistics, I'm sure a lot of hard work by Ukrainian military and intelligence services. Something else my father and I talked about today was complaints about the visible results, the visible movement of Ukrainian troops. For example, in my native Zaporizhia region, the troops were able to move only 17 kilometers. That's roughly right around 10 miles. But consider what kind of 17 kilometers those are. We are talking concrete barriers. We're talking miles of barbed wire. We're talking about fields basically seeded with landmines. It's not like Ukrainian troops could just go for a walk and cross that distance. That's why it's taking as long as it's taken. All of this is happening despite the interruptions in aid, despite the interruptions with money, supplies, ammo, weapons, despite the losses sustained by Ukrainian army. This is all happening. So I don't want anybody giving Ukraine any shit about insufficient effort as part of the counteroffensive. And this is all happening as Russia is ramping up the attacks on the cities in the eastern Ukraine, and I want to add, potentially preparing for attacks against the southeastern cities such as Zaporizhia, Dnipropetrovsk, more attacks against Kherson and Odessa possibly. Right now they have moved their troops and resources so much as they continue trying to attack Avdiivka and Bakhmut that it's really hard to tell what the heck they're trying to do. I wonder if they know. But that is happening as well. The last story I want to present is this article on the BBC website. I suggest you find it and read the whole thing. It's a long article, but it's worth it. And again, it illustrates the sheer horror unleashed by Russia on Ukrainian people as represented by just one person. In this case, it's a 17-year-old Ukrainian boy who was captured during the taking of Mariupol. He is an orphan, so he was at the time living with one of the orphanages in the city. He was forcibly taken into Russia along with 20,000 other children. He was placed in foster care there and allowed to finish school, and then he received paperwork that basically conscripted him into Russian army, and he refused. He refused to go. He refused to join the army and go fight Ukrainians. Moreover, he almost managed to escape Russia and cross over into Ukraine across the border, but was stopped by Russian border patrol at the last minute. So Russia's children's rights advocate, quote unquote, Lvova Belova, who is being currently investigated by the International Criminal Court for her crimes of kidnapping children, swears up and down that the boy really wanted to go to Russia, that he wanted to stay in Russia. Yeah, that's why he tried to escape. That's why he tried to risk his life, his little 17-year-old life, to escape Russia. Because he loves it so much. So right now, there are works in process to try and bring him back. He does have some relatives in Ukraine, but I'm sure any family will take him in happily. But this is just one example of what Russia is doing to people of Ukraine, including Ukrainian children.